Okay, hello again YouTube, back with another video. Now you'll be pleased to know they've got no custom Hornby rustings in this video, but what we do have is some Dapol box fans. Right, so I wanted to make a video on these box fans because they've been quite the project over the last few years. So basically, I got a rake. I wanted a rake of box fans, and I have 6 of these, and they all came in rather, bizarre liveries, very certain liveries, which are no good for me and my layout. But all of our resprays, just in a general, grey roof and brown body, was far better for me. So when I got them, I just moved these back. This is how they come. So this is my DIY cradle. So this is how they come. Lots of random liveries. Now this one is actually in rail freight, and I think this one was a limited edition, which is why this one escapes the spray booth, because I quite like this livery. But yeah, this is what I mean. These kind of liveries are coming. So nothing really too generic in the Dapol range. All liveries that are quite specific. So took them all apart, resprayed them all, grey roofs, brown bodies, which I actually do need to touch up the roofs. In fact, you can just see some overspray there on the corners. But yeah, took them apart, resprayed them, put them all back together. Now, when I put them back together, these things constantly derail, constantly. Didn't matter which type of radius of curve, which local was pulling it, whether they all had the same couplings within a rake, didn't matter. These things constantly off the track, more time off the track than on the track. And subsequently, because of that, I just very rarely used them, and they've sat on my stock shelf for quite a while now. Until the other day, I thought, right, this is ridiculous. There must be reasons for this. So I've attacked the entire rake to get them running. Now, the first thing about these Dapol box fans, incredibly light. Like, they are literally, light as a feather, no weight to them whatsoever. So all of my box fans are now loaded with a big ball of plasticine. I don't know if you can hear. No, but there's one in there. Big ball of plasticine. Really good, cheap way of adding weight to wagons, especially wagons where you can hide the weight inside. So all incredibly weighty now, the wagons. Next problem that I had, now some of these Dapol vans do come with plastic wheels, which are a bit rubbish. So switch them out for some of the Dapol metal ones. But you can guarantee with Dapol metal wheels, back-to-backs will always be out. Always. I find with these Dapol wheels as well that even when I do check the back-to-backs and adjust them, if they're sat out here with any period of abstract weather, they will change instantly. So every time I get the rake out, I have to do the back-to-backs every single time. Now that obviously makes difference, but I think the worst thing about these Dapol vans now, if you look at this closely, particularly this end, the couplings, now you can really see on this right hand side how much the coupling sags. If you look at the left side, a little bit, but not as much as the right, but really droopy, really saggy. And that, I think, was the main problem. Now, even when I'd added the weight, and even when I'd done the back-to-backs, they were still derailing. So the couplings was my last solution as to being the problem. So if I put that back out, now, you'll see here that I have devised my own coupling system on these Dapol vans. If I just turn this one round, so we now have our own hook and loop coupling system on these vans. Now, quite handily on these Dapol vans, if I just tilt this one upside down, they do come with a couple of holes in the bottom there of the chassis, and this lent itself quite nice to thread a piece of wire up into there, super glue it to the inside, bend it to a D shape, and super glue it in the other side, and that made the coupling. The other side, obviously we needed a hook, so on this end, very small, literally what, a 1mm pilot hole drilled there in the buffer beam, and that is a staple. So the staple is straightened out at one end again, threaded through, super glued to the body, and that hooks round on the other side. And that now gives me a very good, and I must say reliable, coupling system. So plenty of room there to swing round. Once painted black, pretty well disguised, I think. But yeah, works extremely well, and I can, I'm glad to say that these have been sat on the layout now doing laps and laps and laps, and I haven't had one derailment, so I think we can say it's been quite the success. I even went to the length, again if I tip this over you can see this as a number 6 on the bottom, so I have 6 in the rake and number 5, so I try and keep them all permanently coupled in the same order as well, because they're that finicky that once I know they're working in a certain pattern, and that's how I tend to keep them. So they all slot back on into the rake very nicely, and yeah, very cheap, easy, simple way of a DIY coupling hook. I do have the rest of the rake out on the layout at the minute, behind my NCB teddy bear, so I'll bob these back on and I'll finish with a couple of shots of them running round in all their glory with the DIY coupling hooks. So again, as always, let me know what you think of these. Cheap, inexpensive, and interested to hear if anyone else has had the same problem. But other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.